Hi, my electronic friends. Today I will talk about Chapter 4 Competence. It is important that the paralegal should understand and meet and maintain the standard of competence as stated in Section 41. There are some key points: the paralegal competence and professional standard. Requires a standard of competence, paralegal must perform legal services to a competent standard using relevant knowledge, skills, and attributes appropriate to each client matter individually. Competence also involves understanding the legal principle, procedures, and the specific nature of the client issue. It varies, it doesn't be the same. Some clients want to get the benefit, some clients want the apology, some clients want the monetary benefits. Competence also include delivering services that are courteous, efficient, diligent, and civil. And the law society required that being competent does not require that you should be perfect in those areas mentioned for competence. So law society doesn't require that you should be perfect, but at least the minimum required standard in 6 areas. 6 areas of the paralegal required standards are: number one is knowledge, number two is skill, number three judgment, number four client services and communication, number five practice management, and number six professional development. So these are the 6 areas in which you have to have minimum required competence, not to be perfect. So knowledge. In knowledge, paralegal need a general legal knowledge and specific knowledge of the law in their practice area. If a paralegal lacks knowledge in a specific area, they must either learn or refer the matter to another professional. So two things: if the paralegal lack in knowledge, he should learn or refer the client to another paralegal if he cannot learn. So this is the point of accepting and rejecting the client. If you think that you will not be able to gain the knowledge to assist the client in the matter for which he is requiring the assistant, you must refuse the client, and you should refer to other paralegal, and you should just decline to represent that client if you cannot achieve the required knowledge. So competent paralegal achieve this goal effectively or accomplish by investigating the fact or identifying the issues, asserting the client objective, and considering possible options, what the option should be best suited to the client need, and developing and advising the client on an appropriate course of action. So when you gather the all information and considered all necessary facts, information before providing the opinion or advice as to course of action that would most likely to meet the client goal. So if you think that you are meeting the client goal and can take care of the client and ensure the client is made aware that all foreseeable risk and the cost associated with the client matter, Though it seems that the client matter may seem familiar, that it should be similar to that, still each client matter is a unique. You have to understand that point. So Law Society has introduced a new topic. It's a technological competence. In previous book, this topic is not available. It is new. And it says that to maintain required standard of competence, the paralegal should develop understanding of an ability to use technology, because technology is changing from time to time. Before that, some software were not available, some new software came in, and some additional technological aspect have to be considered to carry out trial and other things which were not used before. So you have to understand those technologies and take the responsibility to serve client better. Understanding the benefit and the risk associated with the relevant technology. Benefit and the risk mean that sometimes you are using the technology, you don't know, or you have somebody else to provide the technical assistance. So he would be using your confidential files. He would be interacting with your confidential data. At that time, there are some risks associated with those technology. So you have to be sure that there are some other procedure to be followed. In that case, that you have to have some sort of agreement with the person who is providing the technical assistant. That's another chapter, but the basic thing I'll let you know that what the technological competence is. Determining whether the technology is reasonably available, the paralegal should consider the following factors. The paralegal firm and practice area. Maybe you have a small firm, big firm, or medium firm, and these firm, the requirement is necessary or not. For the small firm, bigger firm may need some advanced technologies. Another is a geographical location, and the paralegals or the firm's practice, and the requirement of the client. Maybe the client requirement is not that deep enough to use those advanced technological areas. So here is an example that in litigation context, where the court determined that the mode of proceeding for the client matter is virtual, the paralegal should develop an understanding of the technology is used to conduct the virtual hearing, that is video conferencing, or how to use properly the technology. Paralegal who fail to develop such understanding and ability may be unable to comply with the required standard of competence. So you should learn how to create virtual hearing, how to connect technology for virtual and remote hearing. So if you don't know the equipment and to connect with the court and judges on video conferencing, how would you provide the service to the clients? So you must understand before conducting remote hearing. And if you don't know, you should get training or assistance, or hire somebody who is professional. But still, you should maintain the confidentiality aspect also. For the separate area which I was discussing, it is the new topic which have been mentioned in the new books. So second area of competence is skill. Paralegal are requires skills such as legal research, analysis, negotiation, advocacy, and problem solving. They must be able to apply these skills to meet client goals efficiently and competently. Meet the client goal efficiently and competently. So these skills include the legal research, analysis, application of the law to the relevant fact, law related to the relevant fact, application and writing and drafting. You know the how to draft, how to write different thing like motion, other thing, negotiation. That's also it's a skill to learn how to negotiate with the client and other parties effectively. Included in skill is advocacy and problem solving. By accepting the client matter, paralegal effectively affirm that they have the skill to properly complete the task required for the matter. When deciding whether to represent the client, the competent paralegal will consider that tasks have to be completed and whether the paralegal has a skill to perform them. So you should be certain that you have the skill to perform the task. Third area of competence is judgment. Judgment, paralegal must use intellectual capacity, deliberation, and the judgment when providing legal advice and service. So when providing legal advice and service, you know these things. And they should carefully assess the risk and benefit of legal options. Again, the risk and benefit of legal options. Also maintain the ethical conduct in all professional matter. Ethic has to be considered also in the judgment. And intellectual capacity, if I further explain, that is by using the paralegal ability to understand legal concept, issues and facts by applying these in the logical manner to the client cause. And deliberation is by giving the careful thought and consideration to the client matters being handled. And third is judgment by using the paralegal ability to make reasoned decisions, when providing practical recommendation and advice to the client about the particular matter. So client service and communication. It is the important part of competence, that adequately serving the client interest and effectively communicating with the client. It is important. Wherever you see the word important and paralegal must do, you should focus on those things and read couple of times that to remember these things: important and paralegal must do. Client service and communication, paralegal must. Again, you see the must word. Just pick the word and think about carefully. Paralegal must represent client conscientiously, diligently, and cost effectively, and must keep the client information regarding the client matter throughout all relevant stages concerning all aspects of the matter in timely and effective manner. So paralegal must represent client conscientiously, diligently, and cost effectively, and must keep the client informed. So sometimes the client needs are changed, sometimes client requirements are changed. If these requirements are changed, the paralegal course of action is also changed. It might vary the cost also. So the paralegal should advise the client, hey, your needs and your requirement are changing. My fee and my requirement and my time will be consumed more, and we might have to consider about the fee changes. Then you have to inform regularly at all stages, so that the client should know that if I am changing the course of action or I am adding some new aspect, I have to pay more. That is important. So paralegal should be careful about those things. So to avoid difficulties, competent paralegals should inform all aspects of the retainers and should discuss each and everything in the retainer, and it should be in writing. And in the retainer agreement or engagement letter that addresses the specific legal services that should be provided and received from the paralegal, the specific result that the paralegal may be able to or likely to achieve for the client, because these are the issues that has to be discussed in the retainer at the time you are making an agreement, and especially the cost, how much cost is involved for achieving their needs and goals. In addition to that, the time is required to complete the legal services and to meet the client goals. Cultural competence. Cultural competence is a core competence on the part of paralegal core competence, and paralegal capacity of cultural competence affect the overall quality of the service paralegal can provide to the client. So this cultural competence is also discussed in chapter 2. We have already covered this thing. And the last part is practice management. Management is very important part of professional responsibility of paralegal. And in practice management, paralegal should use available system, technologies, or the method to make sure that the practice operate in a manner that helps and service the client well in timely manner and at reasonable cost. So these two words are important, that practice operate in a manner that help the services to the client in timely manner, number one, and at reasonable cost. So competent practice management requires that paralegal effectively manage their staff, time, finances, and client information. How they manage these things: staff via workplace policies and business procedures. So they should have some sort of policies, and this policy should be disseminated to all the employees and should be visible in the company portfolio or the document. And the time should be managed by planning, reminder system, and time docketing system, because if you don't know the time, what is the date to submit the form, what is the date of trial, what is the date to file a motion, you will be in big trouble. Finances is achieved by via billing procedures, money handling policies, and record keeping system. So these are the things by which you can manage your finances. Last thing in the practice management is client information. So client information, how you should communicate with the client for the information receiving and giving back the progress, maybe via filing, organizational and storage system, including conflict checking. The client information should be maintained according to those requirements. And another, there is a new edition of the para in this new book is where appropriate, paralegal should consider using checklist, worksheets, form, or other related practice management tools to effectively and efficiently manage tasks and minimize the risk of errors. So, where appropriate, so you can use the checklist, worksheet, forms. So, this is the addition. So, next is professional development, adapting to the change. So, paralegal must remain competent by ensuring that their knowledge of the law and the applicable procedure are current, and then they continue to have the required level to meet the client needs. Paralegal must, again, the must pursue the professional development to ensure their abilities to remain at the required level of competence while adopting to changes, requirement, legislation, rules, standards, techniques, and practices. So, this obligation to maintain competence assists the paralegal to better serving the client and avoiding potential complaint and claims. And here are CDP, continuing professional development activities. So every paralegal has to complete 12 hours. So 12 hours in each year annually of CDP, continuing professional development. Law Society has distributed the 12 hour, how they should complete the 12 hours CDP. So out of 12 hours, 3 hours should be professionalism. Out of 3 hours, 1 hour of eligible CDP. 1 hour of CPD activities include the professional development, skills, attitude, and ethics. Out of 3 hours, that's a professionalism. Professionalism include the topic of ethics and professional responsibility and practice management, including equality and diversity, EDI. So these 3 hours are professionalism. Out of 3 hours, 1 hour of CPD activities. So 3 hours mean out of 12 hours, 25% of professionalism are required to complete by the paralegal in 1 year. 9 hours left, 9 hours are substantive or procedural law topics. What does it include? Substantive or procedural law topic. It also include non-legal subject, maybe related to the paralegal profession, and may also be eligible for substantive. Only the professionalism hour, the 3 hours, must be accredited with the Law Society. So again, total 12 hours, 3 hours of professionalism, 9 hours substantive. Out of 3 hours, 1 hour of eligible CPD. These are required by the paralegal to complete in 1 year. That's very important, and understand each line in the chapter. It will help you you know it. It will help you in your studies. There are some small topics you might read 1 or 2 times. It's enough for you, but I'll explain a little bit. That's quality of service. That competent service include being diligent, efficient, timely, and respectful of client needs. Remember, quality of service, being diligent, efficient, timely, and respectful of client needs. It also includes meeting deadlines and maintaining regular contact with the client, and managing expectation about what the paralegal can deliver. Civil society organization. These organizations that's not for profit. Paralegal may serve the client in civil society organization and adhering to the specific standard of competence, including maintaining client confidentiality and avoiding conflict of interest. Because you are working for the civil society organization, but at the same time you are working for the client of civil society organization. Sometimes when the client interest conflict with the civil society organization, you are working for the client. Think in the mind. So you should be careful about it, that you should protect the client needs. You should protect the client confidentiality. Though you are working for the civil society organization, still you have to protect client's confidentiality. Consequences of incompetence. If the paralegal become incompetent, it's discredit the paralegal, harm their reputation, and may lead to disciplinary action. Paralegal must not take on matter outside of their competence, and if necessary should refer or collaborate with more experienced professional. Like in some cases, that if you think that something is not within their scope or the competence is jeopardized, you can contact with the senior professionals to get their advice. By adhering these standards, paralegal ensure they meet the professional obligation and provide effective legal services that support the justice system. That's the end of chapter 4, competence. Next chapter, we'll see you in the next chapter. Thank you for staying with me. Bye.